All right, guys, we have a bit of an interesting story that broke recently when it comes to the Nintendo Switch and a game that's not supposed to be out right now, and that is Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. There are some users, or more like one user that I've seen, that is actually showing off footage of the game, which you won't be seeing here at this point, but the footage is legit, and it's of multiple things that was not already shown to the public. So the trailer, also the E3 demo, it's substantial when it comes to it, and this person definitely has a copy of the game, but we're going to be discussing exactly how they got that copy of the game, because it doesn't seem, based on what they say, like they're actually being 100% truthful. But before we get into anything, what's good everyone, OJ here, welcome back to another video. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. I really do appreciate that for anybody who does subscribe. And of course, drop a comment below what you think about some people, or at least this person, getting a game early when it's not supposed to be out. Definitely sound off. I'll be going through the comments. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at this article. Shout outs to Nintendo Everything for the beat here. So we all know that Advance Wars 1+2 has been delayed because of the war that's going on in Ukraine. They delayed it. It didn't seem like a good time to release this type of game, especially if anybody who's played the game, it mirrors somewhat the events that's going on. So probably a bad time to release it. Okay, no problem. But this Twitter username, I think it's Killeth, I can't say it correctly, whatever, claims to have a copy of Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, and it became playable today after previously preloading the game on the Nintendo Switch Lite. Interestingly, it's apparently not showing up in their library or anywhere on the eShop, which is preventing them from downloading it on their main Switch unit. Some are debating whether this person managed to get a early access through a simple glitch or through more nefarious means. But the bottom line is that they're able to play well ahead of launch. Now, she did once again share some clips. She talked about how it was preloaded and they decided to delay it, but it came out and now all of a sudden it's playable, but only on a Switch Lite and not her main Switch. So that already creates a bunch of red flags and wait, hold up, what's going on here? Then she showed off some actual footage, which once again I will not be showing here. Then she showed off some of the Blue Moon and Olaf stuff as well. So it's like the actual real deal game here. But the thing that kind of trips me up about it is that why is this only happening to this person? This definitely should have been something to where other people could have been affected, because nobody else is posting anything, or maybe people are scared of the Nintendo ninjas, because the Nintendo ninjas are coming after this young lady, or this lady here, Rachel, which she has like a blog. I looked at it, she like writes a blog, but it doesn't seem like she updates it much. But anyway, they're definitely going to take down this. Like, this is going to be something that they're going to take down at some point, because obviously the game is not supposed to be out yet. And I think that this Switch Lite probably won't be connected to the internet after this, because obviously they can just revoke the access of the game or just remove the game completely when it comes down to it. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly how this happened. Now, here's my theory or hypothesis on what's going on here. I think she got an early copy. I think she got an early copy from somebody who works in the retail or distribution. Apparently she's from the Europe, United Kingdom. And she got an early copy from somebody in the UK. They had them there. They got an early copy. These have been done for a long time. And she decided to, hey, I'm going to show it off at this point and maybe mask it with this story so it doesn't seem or out exactly where, like they can trace it back. That's what I'm thinking, because there's too many things that doesn't add up with this whole preload thing and how it doesn't work for other people and how somebody else can't replicate the same thing. This seems to be the only person. So I'm definitely skeptical, very skeptical on exactly what she said and how she was able to get this going. I'm not just gonna buy that, especially because the internet, people say all sorts of stuff, lie all the time, whatever the case is. Not saying that she is lying 100%. I'm just saying I'm not so sure about this, because usually when you have glitches like this or when you have issues like this, other people are reporting it in mass, or it's something that happens quite a bit. This seems to be the only person so far at this point. I know Nintendo Life wrote an article saying that some users, but I'm looking at this and this seems to be just her at this point. So yeah, it is what it is there. What do you guys think about this? What do you guys think when Nintendo's going to actually release this game? Let me know your thoughts and your theories in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, guys. Live Alive, one of my most anticipated games of the year. We've got a brand new interview with one of the developers where they talk about the remake's origins and also why it's HD 2D, one of the best modern / classic art styles for video games ever, in my opinion. So shout outs once again to Nintendo Everything for the beat on this one, where they translated the interview from Famitsu. So here was the question. It has been about 28 years since the game was released on Super Famicom, and now that the highly anticipated HD 2D remake has been announced, could you start by explaining how you came up to develop the remake? Now here's what Tokita had to say on the matter, who is the developer on it, producer. I've pushed internally for a remake or a sequel a number of times, but the circumstances never quite worked and the idea was abandoned. One of the big reasons we were able to create the remake was because we joined up with Mr. Asano's team, who was responsible for the HD 2D RPG Octopath Traveler from 4 years ago. When we were planning the project, we wondered if we could use HD 2D to create a Live Alive remake, and after discussing with them, we made it a reality. As an outside observer, Octopath Traveler left a big impact on me. It made me realize that sort of approach would be possible. I think that a full 3D remake of the game would have changed the look of the game too much, but an HD 2D remake fuses the beauty of pixel art with the unique effects possible with 3D. There are several plots from the get-go in Live Alive. The science fiction sections might be better suited to 3D, while hand-drawn art can be used to highlight more important elements. HD 2D allows for a lot of variety, which is something we kept in mind from the very start of development. So Live Alive launching this July on the Nintendo Switch, the 22nd. It's going to be a summer delight for all old school RPG fans and fans who want to play something different with all these unique perspectives and different characters and different actual genres or styles of games, and somehow they tie it all back together in all these different eras that maybe are 100 years apart or whatever the case is. This is absolutely awesome. First time that the game is ever being released outside of Japan. I mean, Square Enix has been doing stuff like this with Team Asano or even with the Trials of Mana with Seiken Densetsu 3, and I love it. I love the HD 2D triangle strategy, which we're going to talk about here in just a bit, and also Octopath Traveler has been fantastic. Team Asano games are great. So I am all hands on deck for Live Alive. I'm picking up that physical copy because you know good and well that's going to be worth quite a bit down the line, because this game's probably not going to get printed much after that first print run. So what do you guys think about Live Alive? Do you plan on checking out this game when it drops this July? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, and moving on to the next topic here, guys. Triangle strategy. We got a brand new version that is out for all of you guys to go download ASAP, version 1.0.3, and there's not much when it comes to what they're doing here, but there was just a snippet of a patch note. They don't really share too much because it looks like it's kind of like behind the scenes stuff, little glitches that if you trip over a cat and say Serenoa 5 times, then also have Federica right there doing a magic spell all at once, and your Switch light is turned on and off 3 times in a row, then something's gonna happen. That's what it seems like, those type of bugs, right? Those type of really rare issues that come about. But here's what Nintendo had to say on the matter. Several issues have been addressed to improve the gameplay experience. So that's that. Very similar to the last patch that came out. There are some parts in Triangle Strategy that might run a little bit under 30 frames, or maybe the resolution has been stabilized a bit, or maybe something like that. So I'm guessing that they probably smoothed out those, or if there's any bugs or glitches, those have been smoothed out as well. So that's what it seems like to me. Triangle Strategy, for those who don't know, make sure you check out my video that I did on it. I did a 100-hour playthrough on the game where I kind of just went through one singular playthrough, 100 hours, and then I talked about it in a video why this is one of the best games that I've ever played and one of the best games on the Nintendo Switch, hands down. It has a fantastic gameplay loop with the kudos system where it rewards you for actually doing smart plays and doing really cool attacks. Then it also has a really cool upgrading system that is clean and nice and not overly complicated. But maybe the best thing about this game is the absolutely gripping narrative and story that keeps you enthralled in this wartime political conflict of Nations. And it takes some of the best things about Fire Emblem and also Final Fantasy Tactics and some of the other great strategy RPGs, puts them all into one that says, hey, we've got a story that even matches that with these decisions, almost a little bit Mass Effect style decision making too. So it is phenomenal. I highly suggest you guys checking out Triangle Strategy if you're into strategy RPGs or turn-based RPGs in general. There is a demo on the eShop. You guys can download that. It's the first 3 chapters you can play through, and if you like it, you can transfer that data over to the actual game. A lot of talking at the beginning, but it's absolutely essential in order to get the politics, in order to get the world building. It's just so good once it all starts coming together. So I highly recommend Triangle Strategy, one of the best games I've ever played. So what are your thoughts on Triangle Strategy's brand new update? Are you planning on going back into it, doing some second runs or third runs? Are you planning on maybe checking out the game or the demo? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, and moving into the final topic here, guys. Chrono Cross, Square Enix. You giveth with Triangle Strategy, and Live Alive they taketh when it comes to Chrono Cross, the Radical Dreamers. We all know the boys over there at Digital Foundry has done their analysis, and it's not looking too good for the epic PS1 RPG on the Nintendo Switch. Now, let's start with the good. Obviously, you have a great game here that makes it more accessible to play, and the character models have been upgraded. There's 1080p HUD, you know, there's some great stuff, 60 frames per second menus. However, there's some problems here, and that is some of the problems like with the graphics, how the 3D objects have higher resolution, causing a mismatch with some of the backgrounds. You have some issues when it comes to the frame rates in some areas on the Nintendo Switch and all platforms, where it's running actually worse than the original PS1 release. Like, think about that. PS5, if you're playing it on there, it's running worse on that than the PS1. I mean, down to like 20 frames per second, 15 frames per second, even hard capping at 10 frames per second at some points when there's a big spell. So even during the gameplay, and it's a turn-based RPG, so it's not as like, oh my gosh, it's not like it's an action RPG, but still, you don't want that frame rate dipping in the middle of a battle. That's just not something that needs to be happening with a, you know, release on modern platforms like this. So once again, just not a good look from Square Enix, not a good look at all. But check this out, guys. The best way to potentially experience this game and not have those issues is if you play the game on your Nintendo Switch portable in 720p and play it that way, and all of a sudden the issues don't happen as much. Maybe because it's not trying to render at the high resolution of 900p to 936p or whatever the case is, or it's just locked in at 720p. There's no dynamic resolution or anything that could affect the performance. And I'm just thinking, goodness gracious, like, Square Enix, please. Like, we've waited 20 plus years for Chrono Cross, and this is not how a game of this stature should be treated when it comes to a remaster of the game, especially in the Chrono series. It's legendary. There's only 2 real games. There's the Radical Dreamers, which is that visual novel that you can play that's exclusive, and they did translate that and everything, so that's really cool that that was included in there. But at the same time, there's only 2 actual real games to play normally, and half of it's already kind of stained. It's kind of like marred a bit because they didn't want to take a bit more time to get this remaster the right way. Maybe they focused on too many platforms. I'm not exactly sure what went wrong here, but the problem is that this is not really good for this quality of game. Now, it's still really good. You can still play it and beat it and have fun. We saw the reviews give it, you know, in the lower 80s-ish or so, but it's definitely not what you want to see from a game of this stature and a game of this legacy in the Chrono franchise. So very unfortunate how it all worked out, but at the same time, it's still a great game. I think I'm going to check out the Xbox version of the game and the PlayStation version. I think I'll buy both just because I still want to support it, even though the effort's not as good there. And I think that there might be patches in the future to kind of fix up things a bit. I think that maybe that's going to happen, but I just want to see more Chrono. So it's like you get put in that weird spot where, like, oh man, we keep supporting this, but then you're supporting a bad port. But then if nobody buys this, we might not ever see another Chrono game again. So, I mean, I think I'll check it out, you know, more. I bought the physical edition on the Nintendo Switch from PlayAsia, so I think I'll probably buy it on some other platforms and check it out more myself. But yeah, very unfortunate when it comes to how this port worked out here, or how this emulated re-release worked out here, however you want to call it. They call it certain things in the video from Digital Foundry. So if you want to watch that, check out the link in the description. But what are your thoughts, guys, when it comes to all the different topics here with Advance Wars, Live Alive, Triangle Strategy, and Chrono Cross? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate that. Please make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you're someone new. Click that notification bell. We will see you for the next video. Peace.